A very cool plugin in this video I wish I checked out earlier. Actually useful for both mixing and mastering, especially when delivering to digital platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and so on. Mastering the mix levels. Let's take a look. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixbusTv. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy, free plugins and special discounts and offers, and of course a link to the plugin that we are seeing today, Mastering the Mix Levels. If our videos are helping you, you want to support the channel and access to exclusive content, click the join button down here. See all the perks of becoming a MixbusTv member. You can access exclusive videos, chats, posts, but also mix consultations via Skype and emails with me. Let's get to the video. The plugin is called Levels by Mastering the Mix, and it basically has 6 main functions that we'll see in a minute in detail that helps you tremendously checking everything about your final track, whether it is the mix or even better, the master. So let's take a look at all the functions. The first one is peak, and it actually inspired a short video that I made about the importance of having a true peak metering and what's the differences between that and your DAW metering, which is a sample peak program metering, and how the true peak metering helps you avoiding intersample peaks, so distortion once you export your track. So the peak in levels tells you exactly that, tells you if you have intersample peaks. So for example, I'm gonna play one of my mixes here. This is a mix, okay? So if I bypass the limiter, we will not be worried about intersample peaks. Because you can see it peaks at about -6 dB. But if I engage my limiter and I leave the ceiling as 0, and then I start pushing the threshold, you can see I'm already in the red because the true peak metering takes into account that additional DA conversion. So in order to avoid that, I'm gonna pull the ceiling down. There you go. All right. So some songs -1 dB is enough. Some songs needs more. So it's good to have a true peak metering here to check that kind of potential problem, the intersample peaks. The second function of this plugin is the LUFS. LUFS is very important nowadays. LUFS stands for loudness unit relative to full scale, and it's basically a loudness metering, just like RMS, but actually it's more accurate, I think so, and so do many engineers, to measure perceived loudness and compare various mixes more than RMS. But it's even more important because every streaming platform today has a LUFS number, LUFS level, to which they want you to deliver your track. For example, I think Spotify is -14 LUFS. So if your track exceeds the -14 LUFS, it will be turned down. And if it's lower, it will be turned up. So the point is, it's useless for you if you are going to deliver your master, your final master, to Spotify, for example, to squash it over the -14 LUFS, because you will have the drawback of having a squashed track. But then on Spotify, it will be turned down in level because it's too loud. This will give you your LUFS level, and with the presets, you can actually load a preset for the specific platform you want to master for and quickly reach the desired level. For example, I'm gonna leave it at default, and I'm gonna turn on my limiter. Right, if I squash my track by 10 dB, we actually about 4 dB on limiting, which is a little bit. I can reach -7 LUFS, actually -6 and something, which is pretty loud. I'm still in the green, but if I load the Spotify preset, which again, I think it's a -14 LUFS, you can see I'm 7 dB LUFS louder than I should. So Spotify will turn my track down by 7 dB and I'm still squashing it with limiting. So there's no point in doing that. So I can do a CD version and a Spotify version and an Apple Music version. In this case, I can turn my limiter down and stay in the green for the Spotify requirements, and same for Apple Music, same for all the other platforms. This is so very useful because quickly you can print different versions at different levels and have your track delivered at the correct level every platform wants. The next one is dynamic range. Now this one is not really, there's not really a number for this as for example, LUFS or other metering system. It just tells you how much dynamic range your mixes has. It depends mostly on the genre. Some genre are squashed. There's very little dynamic range, like some extreme metal, while classical music or jazz music are more dynamic. So this is mostly a tool that serves you to compare your mixes with other mixes or your old mixes. In this case, I have a dynamic range of 12 dB, which is healthy. Of course, the lower the number is, the less dynamic range you have, the more squashed your mix is. Other mixes will have different dynamic range. Again, that's not a number, but you can compare mixes or reference mixes and have a point of reference to where to go. The next one is the stereo field, super useful, mostly because it basically has a filter. You can see it here. And you can check your stereo content just in the low range. Right now I'm at 110. If I go lower, 20 is perfectly mono. You can see 44. All right, and you can do the opposite. And the great thing about this plugin is on top you can solo left, right, the sides. All right, your mono. And you can check like your mono portion just in the low end. You can check if you have something on the sides. You can see. So it's a very useful tool to analyze your mix, the stereo field, and have a visual reference. The next one is LRA. So basically this is your average loudness. This is very useful if you want to check the differences between your verses, for example, and your choruses, if you have a very dynamic mix. So I could use, for example, this mix here and just play this bit. And because it's an average metering, it will take a few seconds to get the level, but this will tell you the difference between your macro differences between various sections of your song, or for a dialogue, for example, or for a movie score. And you can see the level is slowly going down as we go into the verse because it's a lot quieter. Again, another tool to check your mix, the dynamic of it, how much difference there is between sections. So even when you go limiting, when you go to the mastering stage, you know what you're looking at. The other one, the last one, is something that I've never seen before. And for this one, I need to play a multi-track because you can see it's called bass space. And it basically tells you how much headroom you have in your mix in the low range for the bass. Bass as in this case, you can see it tells you to mute kick and bass. So if I mute kick and bass, all right, I'm all in the green. Why this is important? Because if you have one element that is not one of the main elements that is supposed to have your low end, most likely is going to be kick and bass, it will tell you, hey, this range is occupied by something else, so you don't have room for your actual bass. So if I play again, and I unmute my kick and my bass, now you can see the kick and the bass fill the regions they are supposed to fill. But without them, they're not supposed to go in the red. It's because nothing else is occupying that space. And you know that your mix is healthy in that sense, and you have space for your low-end elements. So this is a pretty cool plugin, super simple, and all-in-one. You have so many tools to check your mix. So this is it for this video. I hope it was useful. I hope you liked it. If you have any question, leave it in the comment down below. Link to the plugin is gonna be in the info box, along with my mixing courses and discounts and all that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.